I'm about to say something that will probably annoy a few fitness influencers, but I don't care. Because chances are, you've been training your arms wrong this whole time, and no one's telling you this. The truth is, you don't need endless sets or fancy gym machines to grow arms. In fact, doing less can get you more results if you know the right method. I've been using the two-set method for months, and not only did my arms grow so much, but I also cut my training time in half. So you're probably wondering how I did that. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can grow bigger arms using just the two-set method, and I've got 3 steps that I'm going to share with you. And the third step might be the most important of all. There's probably a lot of influencers that tell you to just do more sets, or train arms every day. And honestly, that advice is garbage. I'm here to show you something different, the two-set method. It's simple, science-backed, and it actually works. So, what is the two-set method? Known for its insane results, this method requires you to do 2 sets of an exercise till absolute failure, as long as you're doing a maximum of 2 exercises per muscle. This method also complements Mike Mentzer's philosophy, that with the right intensity, 1 to 2 sets of exercise is more than enough to stimulate growth. In fact, recent studies show that just 2 intense sets can be as effective as doing 4 sets, if not even more, as long as you push close to failure and take the right steps, which I'll talk about next. Step 1. To actually grow your arms, all you need to do is to choose 1 to 2 exercises and do these exercises for 2 sets close to failure. In this step, it's important to pick 1 compound and 1 isolation exercise for the biceps, and the same for the triceps. And your complete focus should be on the compound exercise, because compound movements are actually responsible for 80% of your arm's growth. This means that isolation movements are only responsible for 20% of your arm gains. But does this mean that we should entirely neglect isolating the arms? Not at all, because our focus is on getting the most amount of gains possible and maximizing our arm size. One of the best compound exercise for biceps growth, and I say the best because it worked for me and many others, is the chin-up or underhand lat pull-down. And the reason is that this exercise puts a lot of stress on the biceps, especially when adding weight. It gives the biceps a greater range of motion and stronger activation compared to most exercises. When you're doing chin-ups, you're working the biceps at the elbow joint and the shoulder, which means that the muscle is contracting more uniformly from both ends. Do the chin-ups while focusing on bringing your elbows in together and slightly twisting your wrists. You can watch my detailed video for more info about biceps chin-ups, link in my description. Now for isolation exercise, I recommend doing any form of preacher curl. And the reason is because the preacher curl targets the short head of the biceps, which is often neglected. The preacher curl, especially when doing it with a dumbbell or barbell, allows for a deep stretch in the biceps while also reducing momentum. The best version is the cable, however. If you have limited time, then the barbell preacher curl might be a better option. Now for triceps, I can't stress this enough, but the parallel dips should be your go-to compound exercise, because the dips fully stretches the triceps, which puts a lot of tension and stress on the muscle, which in fact allows it to grow. Adding weight as you get stronger will ensure progressive overload and muscle development. Since dips focus more on the lateral and medial head of the triceps, adding triceps kickback as your isolation exercise is a plus. The cable triceps kickback targets the long head, the largest part of your triceps, crucial for arm size and visible in a front double biceps pose. It's one of the only exercises that fully contracts this muscle. Now there's some additional things you should do to make sure you get the most out of these exercises, which I'll talk about in Step 2 and 3. Step 2. For the two-set method to work, intensity is everything. People who say the two-set method didn't work for them probably weren't doing it right. And that's because they don't treat arms like any other muscle. Instead, they just train it for the pump. If you're not pushing close to failure, especially when training arms, then you're missing the entire point. For the exercises that we chose above, you should do around 2 sets for complete failure. Now the reps should be between 8 to 12, but if you reach 12 reps and feel like you can do 2 more reps, then definitely do it and go completely till failure. Intensity is key for arm growth because it fully activates muscle fibers and pushes them to adapt and grow, while just doing a lot of volume and a lot of isolation exercises can actually hurt your gains rather than help you build muscle. Now to grow your arms even bigger and walk around with huge arms, there's one more thing you can do, which I'll talk about in Step 3. If you feel this video is valuable, make sure to like it and leave your opinion in the comments. Step 3. The last thing you can do to ensure you maximize your arm growth is frequency. And this is so important because frequency can actually double, even triple your arm gains if you're doing it right. Both the biceps and triceps are small muscles, meaning they take up to 2 to 3 days to fully recover, especially when applying the high-intensity sets we talked about in Step 2. So training your arms right after you recover ensures you're maximizing growth and potential. But how do you actually do that without overtraining? Picking a good training split is the key. The good splits that allow you to target your arms right after they recover are the push-pull leg split, upper-lower split, or even a bro split where you train arms twice a week. However, an important thing to keep in mind is that if after 2 to 3 days your arms are still sore, then make sure not to train them that day. Delayed recovery is common, and training them while still sore can only make it worse. Now, since you're training your arms 2 to 3 times a week, progressive overload is very important, especially if you want to force your arms to grow. By adding more reps or weight each session, you'll be telling your arms that this is their new normal. Thus, not only you'll build strong arms over time, but also build huge aesthetic look as well. If you want to know how to use the 2-set method by Jan Barsiegel, then you need to watch this video.